And now,
it's 10 a.m.
Let's just get down to it.
And it's time for your sports fix.
Strap yourselves in, folks.
From two guys who have covered the teams you're passionate about for years.
We are professionals.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to
Jacob Ed, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's not my birthday. Christian?
Not me.
When is your birthday? What month?
May 12th.
Oh, there you go. Just had one.
Just missed it.
Happy birthday, Ben. How are you? You're looking good on your birthday? You're looking spry? You're in a good mood?
Thank you. I had a donut before the show, so I feel sugary and great.
You know, it is such an awesome thing to have a company that acknowledges your birthday, does a little something.
Yeah.
Donuts outside. Shout out to Dallin.
Woke up to an email.
That's cool to work in places where those little things
Yeah,
occur.
shout out to Dallin. Dallin's really good at his job.
Yeah, right. It just makes it a little better, you know? And then everybody knows, and we can wish you a happy one because we all love you, Ben. So
thank you.
Thanks for being you, pal.
Appreciate you.
Congratulations on another trip around the sun.
We did it. Thanks to everyone who helped me get there and around the sun. Whoever puts in the work. A lot of people.
I love that phrase because it's also educational.
Sure. Yeah. And pretty non-controversial.
At what point does so my 3-year-old is just getting into the questioning stage where everything's why and it's all questions. So my 6-year-old's about to turn 7 and she's still in that phase. I mean, it's question after question. If you didn't know, Ben's kids are a tad bit older than mine. Does it eventually stop?
Yes, because they can start figuring things out on their own.
All right.
They know how to use Alexa and Google and all kinds of stuff, and they can solve all their problems without you.
I told you I already have to go to the Natural History Museum because I'm getting all these questions about how mountains are made.
Well, you know what? Curiosity is an important part of the human mind. I hope that never goes away.
And I took a couple geology classes. I feel like I have a basic understanding of it all, but we have a wonderful exhibit just up the road that
unbelievable
demonstrates it quite well. Much better than I ever could.
Absolutely.
It's like why I encouraged my wife to get golf lessons when she was picking up the sport. Like, I can't tell you. I don't know.
Right.
They're coaches. There are people, perfectly qualified people that could tell you how to play this sport. All right, Ben. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
You were telling me about your plans. It sounds good. Sounds like a recipe for a good day.
Go get a little pizza with the fam.
Yeah, it
Pretty
sounds
easy.
awesome.
Low key.
Surprised your now fiancée has never been to that particular spot.
Yeah.
So she'll enjoy it as well. That'll be good.
Absolutely. So.
All right. Well, good times, Ben. I'm glad possibly some jazz news on your birthday, too.
We got jazz news right now.
All right. Well, let's talk about it.
4 new uniforms have debuted. You can go find them right now at KSLSports.com. The Jazz rebrand has officially begun. They will have 2 new jerseys this coming season, and they will have 2 more, which they have unveiled next season. Actually, they'll have 3 more next season, meaning the 25-26 season. They're going to have 3 new uniforms. One of them they have not designed and released yet. That will be their quote-unquote City Edition jersey. But the Jazz leaning very heavily into their mountain motif with purple, white, black, and some sky blue. Not sky blue, overwhelming to the point that it was like the early 2000s Carlos Boozer, Darren Williams era, but highlights of light blue throughout, sky blue throughout.
It's funny. I don't know why, because I've been to a lot of press conferences, but the press conference where they announced the blue stands out in my mind for some reason. Like, I remember what room it was in and what that was all about. I don't know, Ben, this is more your wheelhouse than mine. So you want to give us a review, some sort of critique?
I mean, I think they are, what I had been told before I had seen them was that they were a step towards something fans would like more than necessarily the designers would like. And I'm not saying the Jazz designers, I'm just saying like the people who want the style aspect of it.
The snooty people.
And it's going to be more geared towards fan requests. And I think that's fair to say that that's what they delivered.
But the snobs hated the yellow too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think fans are going to be more comfortable with this. This is more within the wheelhouse of what I think you expect when you imagine the Utah Jazz and what their uniforms should look like or would look like. I think this is closer to what you would imagine. And what I like is that their purple does not look like a Sacramento Kings jersey, and it doesn't look like a Lakers jersey, which at times purple and yellow certainly can.
I don't know. No, when I close my eyes, I picture the note with the Mardi Gras colors.
And there is only one note of these 4 jerseys. It's on a black jersey that will be worn beginning on January, whatever their first game of the new year is. So they are still going to wear their white jerseys that you've seen over the last 2 years with the yellow trim, and they're still going to wear their black jerseys with the yellow numbers through the first part of the season.
Because they have to, right?
I think they have to.
Yeah, because you have to stay committed to something for X amount of time.
And then they will weed those out. And the black jersey, the new one that has the big white Jazz Note logo in front of the kind of faded mountains behind it, will replace the black jersey with the yellow numbers on January 2nd, whenever the Jazz play. They usually play a New Year's Day game, so I would imagine it'll be New Year's Day.
Do you want? Okay, you get to pick. Do you want to hear what I think about them, or do you want to hear what I would do if I were making the decisions?
We got time. Let's do both.
I'll start with what I think. I don't care.
Okay.
At all.
All right.
Did I mention that I've sat through how many press conferences, seeing how many color schemes and logos now? I don't care. Again, I'm old enough to remember when Larry initially moved off of the Mardi Gras colors and the Jazz Note. And you know what, Ben? Everybody hated it.
Right.
These jerseys the jerseys that inspired the ones you're looking at now hated it. So this leads me to what I would do if I were them, was exactly what Larry Miller did, and that said, deal with it. I'd stick with the black and yellow. I don't program for Twitter.
Sure. By the way, there was a lot of yellow jerseys sold. If you went to games, which you did, obviously you were at the arena for every game, there's a lot of yellow.
But see, I'm a bitter person who's sitting here squawking on the radio and not somebody who's trying to run a business. So who am I? But I would take it personally. I just don't understand if you're going to make a bold decision and change everything. You don't expect the blowback?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, come on. And just when everybody kind of, I guess I'm getting used to the black and yellow, then you go away from, I mean, I just, maybe it's because I don't care that I can let stupid things like that influence my opinion on things, but I don't know. Whatever.
One of the things the Jazz did not do with their new uniforms is there is not the word Jazz on any of these jerseys, which is a little bit unique. Generally, in the past, the traditional way is you would have your team name when you played at home, because you knew you were in Utah, so it would say Jazz. And when you're on the road, you would say Utah to represent where you came from. They don't have that on any of these. I did ask the designers why that was the case. They just wanted to lean into the branding of Utah versus necessarily the Jazz aspect of it. Not that they're running from the name at all, but
they're more into country.
Sure. And they said one of the things is one of the reasons that's unique here is because so many teams are named after cities, and the Jazz are one of the few teams named after a state. So they like the idea that they can have the state name and not a city name, a la Los Angeles, Houston, Orlando.
Marketing, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, whatever. I remember, I'm old enough to remember when people freaked out about the little stupid patch on the jersey.
Yeah.
How many people care about that now? Nobody. I still think they should go with the NASCAR look.
Just ads everywhere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually really works for NASCAR.
It does work for NASCAR. I don't like the WNBA jerseys that are covered in uniforms.
It really
or
works
covered in logos.
It really works for soccer.
Mm-hmm. It's not my favorite still on soccer. I get it. You got to make some money. The NBA is on the verge of signing a 11-year, $76 billion deal. So they're in pretty good shape financially from that aspect.
I knew this is going back a ways, but a soccer weirdo who was super into it, who had to have the specific brand on the jersey, had to have the Siemens Real Madrid jersey or whatever. I mean, it becomes a thing. It brings me back to my point. If you make it cool, you can make anything cool. You can't just cool. You can make anything cool. I don't know. That's why I have a tough time getting swept up in all of this stuff.
I don't know if you could make those highlighter jerseys cool.
I like the yellow jerseys. I like the spotlight jerseys.
I'm telling you this in probably less than 10 years. There will be some hipster who looks back and was like, remember how ugly / cool those jerseys were? I got to go get myself one. I mean, that's what the purple jersey is.
Yeah.
Everybody hated it. The players hated it. John and Carl both publicly complained about it. The reason to this day that the jersey that's swinging into the rafters is the note for those guys is because they hated the purple so much.
Yeah.
But the hipsters fell in love with the purple 10 years after they moved away from the purple. And now all of a sudden we're back to the purple. And everybody forgets like, oh, we hated that thing forever. Remember when they had the copper black and stuff like that? I guarantee some hipster is going to dredge that up in 10 minutes.
Absolutely. Oh, people hated the black and copper. Right. Absolutely, they did. Guess what font still sticks around? You remember the Jazz that was on the front? That's the font they still use. That's the same font that Utah says right now that is on the Jazz logos they've had recently. I mean, that has stuck around. And you're right, people have been calling for black and copper. In fact, a lot of people want the hockey team to be called the Copperheads because there's a snake, but also to honor those black and copper jerseys the Jazz had that nobody liked.
And somebody thought, well, copper, we have the world's largest open pit copper mine right here in the valley. Let's go ahead and shout a nod to that. And everybody hated it. Whatever. Whatever.
Here's one thing that I do like that I think is cool. I think it falls in line with and some of it I think is honestly just a printing issue, but they found a way to utilize it still. The same way I really like the scholarship program that Ryan Smith did right after he bought the team. These jerseys actually aren't for sale until the fall, and even the new black jersey's not for sale until early next year. The first people who are going to get these jerseys are all the kids playing in Junior Jazz because the Junior Jazz jerseys are going to look like their new uniforms.
That's cool.
So the first people to wear them will be the 70,000 kids who participate in Junior Jazz.
Oh,
And
that's a nice touch.
I think that rules.
Yeah, that
because
does.
you know what? You're also not goading parents into having to buy these jerseys. And enough will be sold. And adults will buy these, but they want the kids. And the uniforms more and more. Certainly, did you play Junior Jazz?
I did, well, everybody.
Yeah, okay. So everyone played Junior Jazz. You remember the old reversible jerseys that were not very good. They've made a real effort in the last couple of years to have the uniforms actually reflect what the Jazz wear, and they've taken that even another step forward this year where the uniforms are really going to look very similar to what the team wears, and I think that's cool that the kids will get to wear them first.
Having worked for the Millers for a long time, that was really important to them, the Junior Jazz program. I don't know if everybody else out there realizes that it's pretty unique. That how the success and reach of
by far
that thing,
the biggest youth league basketball anywhere in the world.
Yeah, it's a monster, and it was really important to them, and it's pretty cool that that's something that Smith family is carrying on because I do think that's a huge benefit to the community for sure. And what a nice nod there. That's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, very cool.
All right, well, you know.
You can find the jerseys at KSLSports.com, also on our Instagram page.
And I don't mean to dump on everybody's good time. I get it that I'm in the minority of not caring here. Krysten, I mean, do you like them?
I do. I think they're really cool. As previously stated, I did not care for last year's jerseys.
Right.
But I think these are clean. I really, really like the white ones. I think the black ones are really interesting too. And, of course, I love the purple ones. So I'm excited.
This is why my fashion never evolves, though. Can I tell you, I saw online this video of Tiger Woods hitting I think it was like a 4-iron, or a 2-iron or something, like 275 yards, and rolling it right up next to the cup. It was a young Tiger Woods. His pants looked like he was MC Hammer. I mean, they were blowing in the wind like flags. I mean, he looked ridiculous.
It's the funny commercial right now, the AT&T commercial about Carmelo making bad decisions, his draft night. Yeah.
So you know what?
Huge.
If I'm going to look ridiculous anyway, I'm going to look ridiculous in my way, and I'm going to stop. Like, my fashion stopped evolving when I was like 14.
So you know what's kind of funny about this? And similar to, I mean, as do we all. We peak, and I'm still dressing the way I did when I was 16.
And you know what? You look great.
Thank you. 22 years later now. The irony that the Jazz players, the stars, John and Carl hated the Purple Mountain jerseys, and that's the one people love so much. You know what Lowry Markkinen's favorite jersey is? He talks about it all the time. It's the yellow jersey. He loves the yellow jersey. He wants yellow shoes. Like, he loves the yellow jersey. He said that's the one he's framed and put in his house. Like, that's his identity.
Do you know?
His identity is that yellow jersey.
Do you know how dumb Andre Agassi looked in the early 90s with the Challenger Court stuff?
Yeah.
Dude, I was clamoring for that ridiculous
Absolutely.
outfit. I would wear that ridiculous outfit today.
Yeah, he looks great.
It's about what you make of it,
it is.
you know. And there's a reason that people love the purple, because they have this warm, fuzzy nostalgia feeling about going to the finals, and that's what they wore when they went to the finals. And it makes you feel good about where you were in your life at that point. And you're like, I love the purple, because it doesn't like. There's some expert out there that's like, ooh, that looks sharp. What do they know? It's what you make of it. So go out and win some basketball games, and everybody's going to be stoked about it.
You're right. I do think, though, because this is just a human factor of it, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just correlation is not causation. There has just been a negative feeling around the Jazz from the fan base for a few years now. There just has been. It's just getting a little toxic. And fans are not happy. And maybe it's just because they keep selling off players at the trade deadline and they're not going to the playoffs, et cetera, and they don't know what the pathway is back to contendership. I do feel like fans are extra let down because they also, for the majority, don't seem to like the uniforms, at least these last few editions of the uniforms. So it just feels like it's being piled on. And now maybe if they like the jerseys, they feel like it's a step in the right direction. As silly as that sounds to me, I think there's a portion of the fan base that will feel better about the organization going forward because they like the branding. And branding is huge. Branding is so much of what we do.
Yeah, whatever. But branding has way more to do with other things. Everybody says branding, you picture a logo.
Yeah, it's way well beyond that. Absolutely.
It goes so much further. But you know, I think the complainers complain. And I think that comes through louder at sometimes than others. I actually think the majority of the fan base understands where the franchise is at the moment. Again, I've gone through a rebuild on this job with this franchise. I get where fans are or aren't. Well, there's a famous quote from Gavin Newsom when he asked about Californians leaving California, and his answer was, "Where are you going to go?"
Yeah.
That's what he said. He said, "Where are you going to go?" These Jazz fans are going to be right back on the bandwagon as soon as they start winning, as soon as they put 8 wins in a row. I mean, been probably the most devastating loss that I've seen the fans go through. And I remember the show right after it very vividly. It was when Darren Williams put them out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because it was at the end of the rebuild. The team was turning. The playoffs were, that was the step. And then the fans booed Aaron Williams, and he has his last good game of his career.
One of the few players who got better when he was angry.
And
he really did.
And he said that after, I can't remember if he said it publicly or if it's just one of those urban legends or whatever. But he said after the game, what are they doing? We're just trying to get to the end of the year. I mean, the Dallas team wasn't even good.
He was casually going into the offseason.
Yeah, right. And then all of a sudden you boo me. Well, I'm going to go out and try and shut you up. And I just beat your team.
Yeah.
Put you out of the playoffs. Ben, the fan base was so angry.
Oh, it was the infamous unfathomable game.
I mean, I'm never going to root for this team ever again.
Yeah.
And the next year they beat the Clippers in the playoffs in 7 games, and everybody was like, oh, yeah. Hey. In fact, and then we're devastated again when Gordon Hayward left. I don't think Jazz fans are going to go anywhere. I don't blame anybody who doesn't want to buy a ticket to go watch their team lose. But I'll tell you what impacts the Jazz fan base way more than a uniform ever could is access to the product. And that's why what they're trying to do with streaming and what they're doing with K-Jazz and, frankly, what the NBA's new TV arrangement is going to be. All that sort of stuff, way more important for Jazz fans. You know what people did when they watched it on K-Jazz, even when they played in the yellow? Believe it or not, Ben.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, it's on KJazz.
I'll watch it.
I can put the hanger thing back on my TV and I can watch the game." That's way more important. I think it was really, if you want to talk about a disconnect from the team, I'll tell you, a Jazz fan in my family who would watch every game, DVR every game, watch some games twice. I mean, that kind of guy. When it left the Dish Network, he said, "Well, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not going to switch over to DirecTV. I've switched 3 times already," or whatever the case is. And he's like, "You know what? I'll just read about it the next day."
Mm-hmm.
And that is an actual threat to the fan base. People being grumpy over a stupid uniform, whatever. Those people are going to be right back whenever you win
absolutely.
3 games in a row. So I don't buy the discontent among the fan base. And if you want the team to build a winner, well, this is the strategy. And you've got a guy that knows what he's doing. I mean, if you want to say Danny Ainge doesn't, I guess you could make that argument.
There's no history of that being the case. There's no history of him not winning.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got an owner that is willing to invest. At least I think he is.
Yeah.
He's betting. I mean, talk about the Utah marketing thing with the Jazz, right? Why not the Jazz and why Utah? He's betting on Utah and its future, quite literally, with his money, like buying the hockey team, doing the arena, keeping it downtown. And people complain about that too, and I get that. But he's investing in Utah. Like that. That's great.
He is. He's invested in Utah. He's carrying the torch.
But unless you think he's Donald Sterling, where he's not going to invest in the product at all and is going to be fine just with a quarter-filled stadium or whatever it is, I guess maybe that's a problem. I don't think that's his end goal. I don't think you think that. So you know what? The complainers complain. Whatever. It's fine. Listen to the Zone. Get banned. It's great. It's great for us. Call in.
I'm seeing mostly positive response on Twitter right now.
All right.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Wow. And I don't have to hear him complain for 10 minutes. Thank goodness.
Is one monkey off the back of everyone over there.
How did I know when the highlighter yellow jerseys were being worn that night? I knew like a day before because people would complain. "Oh, the yellow's coming up tomorrow. Oh, what's the record with the yellow? Oh, the yellow. Oh, vomit." Good. Thank goodness.
By the way, that works also. Branding works also. Having people talk about your uniforms works also.
Do you enjoy a crisp, cold Coca-Cola because of the awesome cursive writing?
Doesn't hurt, but it doesn't make it taste better.
I mean, I suppose if your awesome cursive writing said this is going to give you diabetes, it'd probably be that would be a disaster.
A little less enjoyable.
You know? But ultimately, I'm not popping the top on that delicious beverage because of the cursive writing.
A rose by any other name. So, you're right.
That'd be a bad marketing ploy for Coke. Terrible. All right. Are we over? Are we late, Christian?
We're late.
Oh, okay.
It's a good conversation. Yeah, you guys are rolling.
Oh yeah, well, like I'm a complainer. I mean, I can crap on anything. Weren't we gonna invent that segment? Don't you think we should do that?
Yeah,
like,
there was something.
You could come up with something positive, and I'm just gonna dump all over it.
Pile on it.
Yeah.
That's basically how we start our show every day.
Yeah, that's most
anyways.
show.
Yeah.
That's most shows.
If you have a formula that works, stay with it.
It's a procedural.
Stay tuned. More next. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to break down the stories of the day. Let's go. This is the top 3 stories of the day on KSLSports.com. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time for the top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com. Brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. 2 locations to serve you. One on Winchester Street across from Fashion Place Mall. The other, Traverse Mountain in Lehigh. All right, Christian, where are we starting today?
Number 1, the NBA is closing in on a $76 billion media rights deal.
They're doing well. They're doing just fine.
Yeah, they obviously are. I think that has a lot to do with sports in general and the evolution of the media landscape, which is is pretty wild and pretty lucky actually for the world of sports.
Well,
But
the death of appointment viewing of anything other than live sports.
It's the only television marketing tool basically left.
That's it. It's amazing, but it's basically it. And 24/7 news, which is not even doing as what it once was.
At all.
Right. So it's amazing. The NFL obviously has carved out this path for everybody and has plowed the way. And all the rest of these leagues kind of just pick up whatever's in its wake, which is hilarious that includes a $76 billion commitment. But that is the truth. I mean, the NFL sets the bar, and then everyone else says, well, we will take what's next. And the NBA was right there and ready to go and is hitting at a very good time. This means a ton of money for all the owners, and, of course, half the money goes to the players as well. So you're going to see, as a result of this, absurdly large salaries in the NBA, including probably before too long, we're going to see the first truly $500 million salary and probably $100 million single season salary for a player.
Whatever. The overall value of the franchise is going to jump by what % because of this? I mean, overnight. So,
Absurd,
don't get upset with players' salaries. Isn't that? That's why I always encourage people to focus on % of the salary cap when trying to make the calculation, because it's just not.
Yeah, the percent matters.
It's not relatable, the total.
And it never will be, no.
And it never was really since probably the 70s.
Right.
And it certainly is not now, and it's never going to be again. So you might as well just get over that.
The NBA Players Union is the best union in all of athletic sports.
Oh, no, not even close. The Major League Baseball union.
Major League Baseball is very good.
Is the best union in all of sports.
But the NBA has gotten it back and got a lot of money on their side. The NFL Players Union's terrible. The NHL Players Union's terrible.
I don't disagree
gets
with
half
that.
of this money.
But the NBA has, but it was 55% 15 years ago. So the NBA has done nothing but lose for 20 years.
Okay. I'll buy that.
Derek Fisher was so bad.
Rolling over.
And all Billy Hunter did was steal and have his have his 9 children be basically executives.
So they're second behind baseball.
I don't know what Major League Soccer's union is doing, but they might be better.
It's just run by Messi.
I am not going to give the NBA Players Union hardly any credit. And by the way, they've got the easiest sport to collectively bargain. Now, Ben, ask me why it's the easiest sport to collectively bargain. There's 10 people who play in the NBA. Talking about whipping people votes and everybody together on the same page, so you can.
League.
It's
450 players.
It's like nobody.
Yeah.
The NFL, and especially because there's no guaranteed money and all that stuff, they can't afford to not play.
That's why it's weak. Yeah.
So, and Major League Baseball is just amazing. I mean, they will not. They've got their hard lines in the sand. During the pandemic, the Major League Baseball union basically gave nothing. The owners had to go just do it and eat all of the losses. I'm not. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, we got distracted.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, hey, the players deserve their 49% or whatever it is now, 48%. It's below 50.
Is it? I thought it was a little over 50. Regardless, neither here nor there. Everyone's making a lot of money. It's a good sign. It's a good sign for the Jazz, in all honesty.
It does suck for the fans, though. We can agree, right?
I mean, the money comes from what you pay to watch it on TV.
Yeah, right. We're going to have to stream and order and all this stuff. No, seriously, listen to Ryan from the Dish Professionals, because they're really good at streamlining stuff, because we've got 15 things we've got to streamline now.
And the NBA is going to be split between 3 different providers. It's going to stay on ESPN. It's going to go to NBC, which I'm excited about. I mean, we're the NBC affiliate here locally, which I think is actually pretty cool. And I've always liked the NBA on NBC. And it's going to go to Amazon, which will be very interesting. I'm curious how that works. I am bummed that it's not going to be on TNT anymore.
They are, I don't care about TNT. I mean, we'll see what these new studio shows and stuff look like. I mean, do we have some sort of loyalty to the Turner Network?
I don't care about the brand, but I like what they had put together with Ernie and Charles. And
all right.
We'll see if that can be repeated somewhere else. I would doubt it.
Now I've got to figure Amazon out. And, hey, I love it. Yeah, we're an NBC affiliate in this building. That's great. But, NBC is going to carve it up 6 ways from Sunday. We're going to have to get the Peacocks streaming, and they're going to bounce it to, I don't know what else, NBC Sports. They're going to bounce it. They're going to carve it up 3 or 4 different ways. I mean, it's not just that, right?
Absolutely.
So that's annoying. That's like really annoying.
Yeah.
I honestly wish the NBA would just bundle everything and sell it as one big thing.
I do too, and I had heard several years ago there was some thought of making a plan where there weren't going to be any blackouts on League Pass, and you were going to have, you could buy every game that way, and that was going to be the path forward. And it still could, but as long as these national providers are willing to buy games at this value.
You're not trying to sell tickets anymore. You got to make it available. I mean, the gate matters so little in the NBA now.
So much less than it once did.
So much less than it once did. It matters way more to have people interested in following than it does twisting arms to buy a ticket. I mean, where tickets in some places, and people would argue here, I suppose, are so expensive, like you're pricing everybody out of the live ticket anyway. You want to box them out of the whole product? That doesn't seem smart, but whatever. All right, what's next, Christian?
Number 2, San Diego Padres infielder has been banned for life.
We talked about this a little bit yesterday. It's the one rule you can't break. Yeah. And you know what's scary? We can bring this into the NBA as well with Keyonte Porter getting banned about a month ago or whatever that was. The report yesterday is that it's exactly what you think. He was in deep gambling. Yeah. He had gambling problems. He had lost a lot of money. And the people who he owed money to, the loan sharks or whoever, had said, yeah, you can make it up to us.
Yeah.
You got to throw games.
Go take a dive. Yeah.
And he did.
It's a tale as old as time,
Yeah,
Ben.
I mean, it's the movie. It's the storyline that we have seen over and over and over. And, of course, some morons susceptible to it. And he was. He's an idiot. He did the one thing you can't do. Did you see the report here? I'm not sure I totally believe this, but Major League Baseball says this guy bet 25 times and lost all 25 bets and then got banned. I'm not sure I actually believe that. That seems like an easy way to spin. Like, no, guy. He never actually fixed the games that he was not playing because some of them he was hurt and betting on the team when he was hurt. But I mean, just moronic. And unfortunately, we're going to see a lot more of this. We're going to see more of it with college players. That's what I'm worried about.
Oh, the ban thing has to go forward. The consequences have to be severe. And I know you're a Law and Order kind of guy, Ben. You love Jack McCoy. Who's your favorite ADA?
Yeah, probably Sam Waterston, right?
What about the assistant?
Oh, who's his number 2? I liked, what's her name, Angie Harmon.
Oh, yeah. Jason Sehorn's wife?
Yeah.
She was good. Who was the one before that with the short hair? Claire. She was good, too.
Yeah. I did love Law & Order.
I love that show.
I would leave slick because my classes would end early, and I would go and I'd watch like 3 episodes of Law & Order.
It was always on. Speaking of
middle
TNT.
Of the day. It's awesome. Dick Wolf ruled.
Oh, man, that's really funny. But the punishment has to be severe enough that people say, like, I can't even consider this because then it's all over for me. And then my life is ruined.
And apparently that's not good enough.
Well, I don't know what else you can do.
This isn't enough for people. I mean, you're going to have to throw them in jail.
Right.
So, congrats. You've been banned for life. You're 22 years old.
Now you're facing prosecution. Yeah, it's got to be severe. I mean, it's sports depends on legitimacy.
Yeah. So.
And actually, the gambling world kind of depends on it, too. So you would hope there would be some kind of self-policing, which in this case, there certainly was, because it was DraftKings that flagged it. So you hope that's helpful, too. You know, I watched a documentary about Vegas. You know my obsession with Vegas, Ben. It was the legitimacy came from within. Does that make any sense? I mean, they pushed the mob out. Mm-hmm. That had to come from within. Right. It couldn't really come from, they had to legitimize the whole thing to make it what it is today. And probably the reason that town has sports, honestly. Because this is something that's happened for a long time, and it's something that sports has worked really hard to distance itself from for a long time. And now you hope the business is so legitimate that you don't deal with this stuff, but what's the likelihood of that? I don't know. Next.
Number 3, the Jazz released their new uniforms this morning.
Ben is so excited. He's bouncing off the walls.
You can find them at KSLSports.com. We've got them up there.
Devin asked me if I wore purple this morning to celebrate. I said no.
You did. That's why you wore them.
I did not.
I should have bought a highlighter yellow jersey. Those things are going to be at Dick's Sporting Goods.
They're going to be in high demand. Seriously, in 10 years, they're going to be in high demand. Go buy a box.
Yeah, I'm going to buy a bunch.
And throw it in your closet.
I'm going to leave the tags on, and I'm going to retire on that when I turn 10 years from now on my 48th birthday.
You
I'm gonna
watch,
hang it up.
Christian. You're young yet. You haven't witnessed it first person. But 10 years from now, somebody's going to go, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen, dude. Those were the Jazz jerseys once? Are you kidding me?
People
I
hate it.
swear, I'm gonna lose it if somebody 10 years from now says, "You know what?
It's
Ryan
gonna happen.
Smith was ahead of his time."
It's absolutely
going
going
to happen.
It's going to happen. People want the baby blue jerseys back. People hated the baby blue jerseys. People hated those. You know what they haven't done? My favorite jerseys have actually always been the two white home jerseys they had, which is the white Mardi Gras one, which is the original Jazz, which they have never brought back.
Yeah.
And then the white purple jersey, or the white mountain jersey that they wore in the late 90s too. And they haven't brought either of those back in their classic throwbacks.
I thought the City Edition jerseys were the ugliest / dumbest things I've ever seen. I had no idea what team I was even watching, and everybody could not have loved them more.
You're talking about the blackout jerseys that they had?
With the orange,
Yeah, yeah.
that whole line.
Yeah. People loved them. You're right. People went crazy for those.
I thought those were the worst.
They certainly weren't Jazz related. I get that there was a little bit of Moab colorization, Southern Utah colorization in there, but it was not all that indicative of any Jazz history. And you're right, everybody loved them.
Somebody did a poll in Moab during that time about what their favorite NBA team was. Do you know what it was? It was the Nuggets.
Yeah.
The Nuggets. Let's honor Moab. You mean the Nuggets fans down there?
Yeah, right.
The only ones watching the NBA basketball are the Nuggets fans? Those hippies down there that love the Nuggets?
You can find the jerseys also on our Instagram page at KSL Sports.
But you watch, Christian. You watch. And, by the way, you'll look back at some point about what you were wearing in high school, and you'll be like, I look like the dumbest person ever.
I've hit that. I
gotten
was
there?
aware of it in high school.
Yeah.
And I didn't care.
Wow,
Yeah.
I look like a moron. Ben in his silver tab jeans, big parachute legs.
Jinko pants. I never owned Jinkos.
Oh, but Ben was in the skate world, too, where it got its most ridiculous in the 90s.
Yeah, I was a little young. I hit early 2000s. Which was not good. The big stupid shoes, the big ugly shoes. Yeah.
That are still around to this day?
They are coming back, yeah.
Yeah, see?
See, it all comes back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right, stay tuned. More next. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Who's got it better than us?
Your home for the best sports coverage in Utah. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Want to remind you about our friends at Peach Doors and Windows. Amazing home transformations begin with Peach Doors and Windows, where 5-star reviews are the norm. Call them today for your free in-home estimate, 801-566-1255. Peach Doors and Windows. All right, let's give away some tickets. It's a Win Ticket Wednesday. Caller number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. You're going to receive a family 4-pack of tickets to the Salt Lake Bees home game. Home game of your choice. Tickets come as vouchers, good for home games during this season. And we'll mail those to you. So caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. Yesterday would have been perfect for a little baseball.
Yeah, oh, beautiful. We've had a really nice year so far, weather-wise. Very snowy January and carried over, but it's been a pretty gorgeous spring. One of the better ones I think we've had in a long time. Keyonte George is going to the NBA Finals. Jake, he's going to be a NBA player correspondent for Game 3 back in Dallas.
For who?
The NBA.
Like
For
NBA
their social
TV?
media, things
okay.
like that. So on the app, on
Okay.
there, whatever.
I mean, that's cool.
Donovan Mitchell, you remember, sat in on one of the drafts. I want to say it was his first year in the league. I want to say it was 2018. He went to the NBA draft and would kind of interview players and ask them questions. Remember last year, Walker Kessler was in the press room for a Nikola Jokic question during the finals. I actually like my players, if I'm a fan, to participate in league stuff. I like guys wanting to be around. I think that's actually beneficial. I think the guys who are always on the outside of it don't always blend as well. So I think it's a good sign that A, Keyonte George is being asked by the NBA to do it, and then B, that he's willing to do it.
Well, I'm sure the Jazz love it.
I'm sure the Jazz love it, yeah.
So I also think that for athletes as they retire and then pursue other careers, there are media opportunities for athletes. And if you can help them figure out if they like that or hone that skill or whatever, I think that's somewhat productive actually to do as a league. I wish the league would invest more in helping players figure out, and I know they do some, I'm not saying that they don't do any, but help players figure out the best way to set themselves and their families up for life. What are you going to do after? What kind of, are you going to be an investor? Are you going to be in the media? Are you going to, what are you going to do? And help with some of those skills. So I don't know if Keyonte wants to be the next J.J. Redick.
Yeah.
But
the future head coach.
Why
of the
not?
Los Angeles
Go be
Lakers.
a correspondent. Figure out if you like to ask questions and you like that sort of thing. Identifying with people, translating basketball to a broad audience. If that's something you're skilled at.
Donovan Mitchell is a superb basketball player. He's a very good media machine. He might be a better media machine as far as his ability to market himself as cordial, likable, flashy. He goes and does the dunk contest. He knew how to do that extremely well, not just because he's a good dunker, but he knew how to sell
He's a showman.
He's a good showman,
Mm-hmm.
and it has made him a lot of money. It has helped him become a star even beyond his talent on the floor.
He still has no business having his own shoe.
And he has 5 now. I was at the sporting goods store the other day, and I was like, oh, that's a nice looking shoe. It was his 5th shoe. It's crazy. Not a lot of players have they'll have like a version of a certain shoe, but those are his specific brand of shoe or his line
Nobody
of shoes.
has that.
It's very rare.
Whoever's 10th in line at Nike right now is like, dude.
Yeah. Donovan Mitchell? Yeah.
Him?
Right. So he's done that very well. And Keyonte George does not, in any stretch of the imagination, have the same personality of Donovan Mitchell. They are very different people, which, of course, they get to be. But some positive branding would be good for him, and the Jazz would lean into that as well, like you're saying.
Yeah, right. But then he has to turn out to be good.
And then he has to be good on top of it. That's where Donovan Mitchell backed it up. He wasn't just talk.
Right. No, you have to turn out to be good.
Yeah.
No, Donovan was really interesting. A really interesting case study. I mean, I'll never forget when we were broadcasting. It was his first off season after his rookie year, and we were broadcasting from the 3-on-3 tournament that went on associated with the summer league. We're broadcasting in the heat, and you see on Twitter, Donovan Mitchell says, "Hey, how come nobody told me about this?" Because I think he lived downtown, and he saw it from his window or saw it. He's like, "How come nobody told me about this?" And then all of a sudden, Donovan Mitchell went across the street or whatever just to shake hands with the kids. The people playing 3-on-3. I mean, Ben, I'd never seen anything like it. Like, games stopped, the ball just drops onto the ground, and then everybody just flooded to one side of the thing. And Donovan Mitchell, did his thing, and it was really cool. And Royce O'Neal was there too, and that had to really hurt his feelings because nobody
stopped. Nobody
Royce. Cared
Get off the
about
floor.
Royce in the slightest.
Royce, we're down 8-4.
I think we threw Royce on the air.
Yeah,
because he wasn't doing anything. We're like, we'll interview you.
Yeah. Bored?
We'll talk to you. Donovan getting all the attention.
You
That's
lost
all right.
your friend.
You can come over here. But I mean, like stuff like that. Like he got what that did, what that does for him.
Yeah.
He probably wasn't wild to go to Cleveland, I would guess. But he said all of the right things.
He has.
Even if that hurt Utah's feelings, because you can't help but compare. He still is saying all the right things for both himself and his situation.
Yep.
I always kind of thought it was a little fake because nobody is genuinely like that ever.
All the time.
But
There is some
whatever.
There
But
is
he
some
backed
part of
it
the
up.
machine, and he's backed it up with
He
play on
backed
the
it
floor.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's never let down his part of the bargain. I don't think.
I don't either.
Yeah.
And I think there were a lot of fans that loved him here as a result.
Yep. No question.
The divorce was a bit complicated.
From the team, not his personal divorce. Never married.
Yeah, Ben. From the team, yes. Of course. Thanks for clearing that up.
Some people don't know. We have people's 25% of their attention. So I'm just going to clarify that Donovan Mitchell did not, in fact, get divorced.
You have to be married first.
Correct.
He's not married, Ben.
No, he's not.
I don't think so.
No, I just want to make sure people
But
recognize the verbiage you're using.
Did cover his love life when he was here closely.
Well, it was actually a
you were
little It was a little up and down. So.
You were hiding out in his bushes and stuff. It was weird.
I thought
it crossed the line personally, but you know what? You're good at what you do.
I will thankfully never write, hopefully, about a person's private relationships.
I'm going to talk about them. I don't care what you write about. My dream is to be one of those bozos on TMZ. You have any idea how much leverage I'm sure that Harvey Levin guy has?
Yeah.
On everybody?
Everybody. That's how he gets stories.
I mean, how much? What is he not saying?
Mm-hmm.
All right, stay tuned. We'll have more coming up next. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The sports you love, the teams you can't live without.
Get a sense of urgency!
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ben Anderson, man of the hour. 38 years rocking power. Mid-sports radio blowing minds. Loves his kids, his love he finds. Beyonce and he's standing by. Making life sweet, never runs dry. Basketball fan, never wears shorts. Air fryer king, cooking up reports. Radio star.
Happy birthday, Ben.
Is this you and the gang?
This is me and the crew. We came up with the song. Now, Christian just talked over the best lyrics, but it's not his fault.
I'm going to need the lyrics sent to me.
I thought it came out pretty well.
It sounds great.
We
You guys,
wanted,
nice of you to record it last
Like
night.
an 80s butt rock kind of vibe to it, because I know that is your go-to style of music.
You killed it.
And yeah, what do you think?
You guys have
Pretty
great
good?
production. Amazing you guys can
I
put those
think-
together so quickly.
I think we need to play it again.
Do it later in the show.
We do have more important things to do, like getting out of the zone phone. Joining us now, she's our good friend. She covers the NBA draft for Yahoo Sports. The one and only Krysten Peek. How about that, Krysten? It's Ben's 38th birthday. What do you think?
Happy birthday, Ben.
Thank you so much. Kristen and I actually have birthday plans for her birthday already. At least I've weaseled my way into an invite to her party
Yes.
this summer. So
Yes,
Very
it'll
exciting.
be it'll be a mixture of jazz media, jazz front office people, and my hiking group here in Utah.
Wow,
So,
that's an eclectic crew.
now I'll give you some recommendations on how to help everyone blend off the air. There's some easy tricks that everyone will get along a little bit easier.
It's called Miller Lite.
Yeah. All right, Kristen, you have a new mock draft out that came out yesterday. You have Rob Dillingham, I believe, projected to the Jazz at number 10. He's all over a lot of boards that I've seen. What is the latest on the – I don't want to call him the other guard at Kentucky because Reed Sheppard and he both came off the bench and had big roles for Kentucky. But what's the latest on Rob Dillingham?
It is so interesting, Ben, because, this is a player I've known for a few years now, and he has never had an injury, never ducked anything, has always competed. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he has a sore ankle, doesn't go through agility or shooting testing at the combine. Everybody, of course, had to measure, and he came in at a whopping 6'1.5" and 164 pounds, which is
he's
not
exactly
great.
my size. He's exactly me.
Not great
Yikes.
at all.
Yeah, yikes.
So, and then he didn't go through his pro day a week later in Los Angeles, where Bronny James put on a show. And it just feels like Clutch is trying to hide him a bit. And because of that, teams are going back and looking at film and they're seeing his playmaking, they're seeing his shot creation, and they're just like, wait a second, but defensively, who is he going to defend? Like, you look back at the horrible game against San Francisco when both Rob and Reed got torched defensively by Goldkey just scoring, 8, 9 threes, whatever he had in the game, could get a shot off from wherever he wanted. So you're having teams revisit that. You're having some pause, and I think he's going to fall because of that. And the reason why I have him 10 right now is because, we had Danny Ainge come out say at the end of the year that he doesn't believe Keyonte George is the franchise point guard. He's a great combo guard. He obviously had an explosive season his rookie year. And so I don't know if he said that in hopes to target a guard in this draft class. And Rob is there at 10. I think he's a good option. They could also try to package what they have in terms of 10, 29, and 32 and move up the board and get someone like Stefan Castle if that's who they're targeting. But I think a guard is at play here. And also there's a ton of perimeter options as well at 10.
Krysten, I know this is kind of your world you operate in, so sometimes you have to be a little bit careful about what you say, but I don't. And I will tell you that I find this Bronny James thing horribly obnoxious. I think if his last name were Anderson, I don't think he'd be playing for San Jose State and not making people wait for 10 hours to interview him at the draft combine. But I guess my question for you is, what are the odds do you think that he ends up with the Lakers?
100%.
Yeah,
it's going to 100% happen. And, the early talks of the Jazz saying, and they were serious, they said, we are interested in bringing him in. Why wouldn't we be interested in? Like, he's a prospect. And I think what people don't understand about Bronny, and he's a player I've covered now for 5-6 years since he was in 8th grade going into 9th grade, is just the enormous amount of pressure he's had on him every step of the way. Now, his dad has not helped him in any case whatsoever, saying Bronny could help us win games right now, talking about the Lakers. Bronny's better than this player. He's always said, I want to play with my son. I want to play with my son repeatedly. And when you have the most influential player saying that time and time again, it's going to happen. And the fact that now you have Rich Paul coming out and saying, we're not going to take a two-way, that's deterring other teams from even looking at him. He's had 10 invites to come in and work out. He's only visiting 2, the Lakers and the Suns. And so when you look at Clutch, and the Jazz have 2 clutch players on the team, and you look at Clutch and their enormous just organization. If you are the team that is going to play chicken with Rich Paul and Clutch for Bronny James, it's not worth it down the road. So I think all other teams are just going to, just kind of throw up their hands and be like, okay, Lakers, you guys can have him at 55. Go ahead and give him guaranteed money. And if there was a case where there was going to be someone that was going to put their foot down and say, no, we're going to take him, then that's now they have the 17th pick because the Pelicans deferred to 2025 first round. So now they have that pick to work with. I don't think they take him at 17. I don't think they take Bronny James at 17, but they have that more wiggle room to work with.
So, Krysten, can you give me I feel like there is less kind of overall knowledge about this draft, and I get that that's because it's not as strong at the top, but I just feel like by this point in years past, we just kind of have a better idea of what some of the late rumors are, some of these guys who are shooting up draft boards. It feels like it starts to solidify, and I feel like I'm seeing less of that. Are you feeling that same way, or what is kind of, I guess, the latest scuttlebutt about this draft and where players are going and who's rising and who's falling?
I think right now, I've just had a series of conversations this morning with different agents and different teams and executives just about, a handful of different players. So I think right now is when we're going to start to see it pick up. You've got Jonathan Givony going on Zach Lowe's podcast and saying that the Hawks love Donovan Clean and they want to trade down for him. So you have that. You have Memphis coming out and saying, we want a back to the basket big. So if Clean's not there, what are your options at 9? Do you want Khalil Ware, or are you going to take a swing on Zach Edey, which is kind of hot and cold for a lot of different people. And so you're starting to hear these different rumors. You're starting to see different teams try to hide players. I think Tijan Salon is one player. I put him 5, and you think about it, and they share the same agent with Victor Wembanyama. I think he could go as high as number 4, but he's a player that has been projected in the 13 to 20 range the entire year. So I think with this draft specifically, we're going to start seeing in the next couple of weeks players that were nowhere near the lottery all year long just shoot up inside the top 10 because of teams trying to protect who they really want. And as we know in the draft, and we see it every year with Woj and Shams and everyone breaking the news, those secrets don't stay hidden for long. And so I think in the next couple of weeks, especially the week leading up to the Wednesday and Thursday draft at the end of this month, we're going to start seeing those rumors, kind of come more to fruition.
As a reporter, how hard is it to filter that information? I say this because I would be so bad at it. I'm so gullible. I will believe anything anybody tells me. How hard is it to separate the gold from the chicken feed, so to speak?
I will say this. I mean, this is year 10 for me in the draft space. And so, maybe year 1 and 2, I would believe everything that everyone said. But by this time, the people that I trust and I know that have solid information and that aren't just trying to feed me anything for their players' draft stock, or, they're telling me something to protect a player. I've kind of been able to decipher, who I trust and who I don't with information. But yeah, it's still a fun game. I mean, give it another week and my head is just going to be running in circles, especially in this draft, depending on who liked who's rising, who's lowering, like who worked out, who bombed at their workout, who, fell asleep at the site 3 times because they were so tired they want to take a nap. Like, you hear all these rumors and this stuff leading up to the draft, and it's fun. It's fun, and it's really interesting for me to try to decipher what's real and what's not.
For the real draft nerds out there, one of the popular names throughout the year has been Nikola Topic, who now is revealed today. He has a partially torn ACL throughout most of the season. He was kind of viewed as a top 3 pick, got hurt in January, missed several months, came back, got hurt again. And now I'm seeing, you got him number 11 in your latest mock draft. That seems like an ideal fit for the Utah Jazz. Do you know anything about his knee and the concern there?
I don't. Listen, I saw the injury and then the reports were, oh, he's fine. It's just a sprain. And it did not when you have to be helped off the court like that, it's not a knee sprain. I'm sorry. It's not. So I think they were trying to hold back that information as long as possible. And right now, over in Europe, they're having the European Combine go on. There's every team is over there. Every executive is over there seeing Ricochet, Topic, Tijan Salam, like all the top players. They're all there. And I think because he is now going through medicals, because he has to, that information was going to come out. So to beat that leaking in any other way, they came out and said, he's a partial torn ACL. If you look at that recovery, I don't see it. It's like if you're already in rebuild and you are patiently waiting for the better draft classes to come in 2025 and 2026, I don't see the problem taking him still in the lottery and just being patient with, with his recovery, because what he showed in the Serbian league earlier on the season, he's the Serbian version of Josh Giddey with how well he passes, with how quick he is with the ball in his hands. And he's got great size at 6'6". So I don't think, obviously it's hurt his draft stock in terms of falling out of the top 4, top 5, but I think he's still a valuable player late in the lottery.
How much do you expect your latest mock, which would encourage everybody to check it out at Yahoo Sports? How much do you expect it to change? Because I bet that varies from year to year too, as there's more consensus. Do you expect this to move a lot before the draft?
Absolutely, especially in this year. I think I have 3 more mocks I have to do before now and the actual draft itself. And listen, all the way up to the day of, I think we're going to see movement not only in the first round, but also in the second round with different players trying to, or different teams trying to move up for different players, except one player will remain only at 55, and that's Bronny James to the Lakers. He's the one that will not change between now and the draft.
Hey, all right, I'm going to put you on the spot here. This might be difficult, so I'm sorry, because I know the draft is all over the place. Who absolutely will not be on the board at 10 for the Jazz?
Stephon Castle.
He won't make it that far.
No. I don't think he makes it past 6.
Well, there you go, Ben.
No, that's great. That's exactly
there's your answer.
Hey, I remember last year, Krysten, we were talking, I think, several days leading up to the draft, and all these scenarios. Now, nobody thought Cam Whitmore would fall to 20, but Jazz fans were talking about Anthony Black, and you said absolutely no chance he's on the board at
no chance.
9,
yes.
And you were exactly right. He went at, 6 to Orlando or whatever.
6.
So you're right. You've nailed those before, so that's good information, and I will stand by what you say.
Happy to help anytime.
Krysten, after I think about a month and a half off, the NBA is ready to resume their playoffs, and I would be curious to your take. What are we in for with this series?
I think, Boston is favored for a reason. I think Jason Tatum, in order to be secured as like a quote-unquote budding superstar, he needs to get a ring and put that under his belt. But I love what Dallas has done, not only making it work. Like, how do you make Kyrie Irving work with Luka Doncic? Like, that was like red flag central. And not only that, but the cast of characters in the last 3 years that they've drafted and built around this Dallas team. Derek Lively, who did absolutely nothing at Duke, was great in his pro day. They drafted him in the lottery. Jaden Hardy, who played for the G League Ignite, was a 5-star coming out of high school, kind of disappeared. Second-round pick, they picked him up. He's been absolutely wonderful and so much fun to watch in these playoffs coming off the bench in the secondary unit. So I think it's going to be a fun series, but I do think Boston kind of has the edge a little bit in terms of just how well they've been playing as a group right now.
Derek Lively has turned into one of the better draft picks from last year, not necessarily because of his talent, even though he's obviously very good, but he was just such a perfect fit for what Dallas needed, despite being completely unproductive at Duke. It was kind of crazy what little production he had statistically. Is there a player this year who's going to be low statistical output who you think could be a big impact player in the NBA in the coming seasons?
Oh, that is a great question. I mean, I would say the buzziest name, and Ben, you texted me about him, a couple months ago, and I wrote him off just in terms of the intel that we were getting. But Keyonte George might be one of the biggest risers in this draft class, and it's someone, you look at his size at 6'8", 6'9", can shoot the ball very well. He didn't really test well at the combine in terms of his agility testing, but the way he sees the game and how good of a passer he is at such a young age. I mean, this is a guy, he shot up. He was a point guard. He was 6'3", 6'4", then hit a growth spurt and moved to the perimeter. So he still sees the floor as a point guard, but in terms of how quickly he can make passes and plays, but he also shoots lights out. So I think he's someone that people are going to be like, who? Oh my gosh, he came off the bench for Miami and averaged 7 points a game. And this guy's going to be a lottery pick, that sort of thing. But I think he's going to be the biggest surprise in this draft.
Krysten, we are so fortunate that you're willing to come on our wee little show here. We always learn something from you, and seriously, you're the best. We'll send everybody your way on the mock.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Always happy to join you.
Thanks
Krysten. That's Krysten Peek. Covers the NBA draft for Yahoo Sports.
We'll have to get her on one more time before the draft. This is a busy season, but we'll have to catch up with her the week of.
She has to do all these mocks. I actually am happy for her that it's kind of a wild draft where nobody really knows what's going to happen because it gives her the content. Imagine, the same mock 4 times because it's like nothing's changed.
Yeah, nothing has changed. But yeah, this one is going to move rapidly, and we aren't going to know what this looks like until draft night. I mean, I agree with her. We'll start to get a little bit of a better picture, and I absolutely believe her. If she says Stephon Castle from UConn's not going to be on the board at 10, I'll take that to the bank. Krysten knows her stuff very well and understands who's going where and not going where. But, this is gonna change rapidly. 3 weeks from today is the draft. So,
man, it's coming up. Do we know what we're doing?
I saw some writing on a board somewhere. We'll see.
Am I involved?
Probably you.
Okay.
Probably me. I would love if we could have Coach Cleveland again last year.
Coach Cleveland was great.
It was so cool. That was one of the more enjoyable experiences of my professional life, to be honest with you.
Of course, would love to have Tim too, but he might be doing
the Jazz
TV stuff.
Keep stealing him.
Yeah, right. No, Coach Cleve was so good last year.
Unbelievable.
He was great. So prepared, and that's a long show.
Well,
and
he
Coach
wrote everything
Cleve
by hand.
was making it happen.
Old school, like really cool.
He's a good dude.
Yeah, and he'd watch all. Remember we sat down. He's like, I'll put in a little info here where I can. I don't know what all you're looking for.
And then he was a darn encyclopedia.
He had a dossier on every player. It was extremely cool.
That was cool. Yeah, we should do that again. That was fun.
Yeah.
All right, big thanks to Krysten for jumping on with us. Again, check out her mock draft at yahoosports.com and follow all of her mock drafts and all of her great work. She does a lot of good stuff. I mean, videos and all that stuff, too. I loved her answer about Bronny.
Yeah. She's right.
She's right.
Yep.
100%. He's going to the Lakers.
Yep.
100%.
And like I said, there's certain you can mess with clutch a little bit here and there. There are certain places it's not worth it, and Bronny's not worth it.
And they absolutely hide their players. She talked about that. That was a great interview.
Yep.
Kristen's terrific.
Yep.
Big thanks to her for jumping on. And if you missed any part of that, we'll get that up in podcast form as well. If you don't download our podcast, you should do that every day and then listen to it like 6 times. Ben's actually, he communicates subliminal messages that you can't hear unless you've listened to the show 9 times.
You have to listen. Yeah, you have to listen to it a lot of times.
Then you get a
totally
deep
different
message.
Yep.
Yeah. Stay tuned. More Jake and Ben coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Whether it's the Jazz, Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, these guys have got you covered.
Time to eat, fellas.
You're locked on to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson
1, 2, 3, move it.
on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time for What You Got Wednesday. I want to remind you first, though, about the Hercules Hero of the Week. Nominate the sports volunteer you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at kslsports.com/contest and listen every Thursday to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week, sponsored by Hercules Credit Union. All right. What You Got Wednesday? If you're new to the show, Ben and I every Wednesday go head-to-head on 2 5-selection drafts, one sports-related and one not. And then we put it out for a vote. Ben, you were not here last week, and Jeremiah filled in on this segment. And JJ beat me in both categories, which is ridiculous in both categories.
You guys did Best Wyoming people?
I obviously won both.
Why did you do Best Wyoming people? What was the
Jeremiah's from
genesis?
Wyoming.
Oh, okay. Why do you think he was a Denver guy? I didn't know he was born in Wyoming. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, Star Valley.
He was born to
How
be
do
a
you
star.
not know this? He's a
Born to be a star.
darn
Makes sense.
celebrity.
All right.
But anyway, Jeremiah beat me in both. So what do you want to do for...
You're up, brother. You lost both. You get the number 1 overall pick.
That's not fair. He's like a big celebrity.
Take him. I want you to go first.
Well, I'm going to lose in the sports one.
Okay. I only have 6 options, but I think it's wide enough that we're not going to have a lot of crossover.
All right. So what's our sports-related draft?
Our sports draft today, in honor of the Jazz releasing their new uniforms, we're going to go with best uniforms in sports.
Of any sport.
Any sport.
Of all time.
Any sport, anytime, best ones.
See, this is going to get wacky because we all have different tastes, right?
Right.
But what I think the actual answer is, and maybe you'll debate, but I think there's one number 1 to me.
Okay, I think there is 2. I'm guessing we're not going to draft the same one, though.
The Carolina Blue Tar Heels.
Okay. It's not what I had number 1.
Really? I think
it's
by far the best uniform in sports.
I love it. I love that color. I know a lot of people don't like sky blue as a jersey color, and I know that's North Carolina blue. It's not sky blue. I'm with you. It's awesome. It has it brings a seriousness to whatever it is. Like there's an authority to that jersey. You put that jersey on, you're a somebody.
How many teams in college basketball do you actually know by the color? Like you don't look at the name on the uniform, but you see the color and you know North Carolina's playing. Like there are other Duke navy blue or whatever that is. There's tons of those. There's tons of red and white. There's tons of whatever. Royal blue. What team in college basketball other than North Carolina do you actually know automatically as soon as you turn it on?
I think you're dead on.
All right. Anyway, number 1 pick, North Carolina.
It's a very good pick. It's a great pick. I'm going to go with the obvious one, which I think is the most obvious, but it is classic. It's cool. It still looks good. It's aged perfectly.
Don't do it.
Yankees pinstripes. It's a great jersey. It's an awesome jersey. The logo helps, but we're not drafting logos, but it's an awesome logo. The blue hats, it's just a perfect jersey. It's exactly right. They nailed it. And it's been cool since Babe Ruth wore it, and it still looks good on Aaron Judge. It's been cool forever.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not taking a New York thing. You could have the Mets, you can have the Islanders, you can have all those.
Mets.
You can have the Knicks. I don't want any of
Okay.
it. I'm going to go with, and this is also the Skyline Eagle in me, but the Notre Dame blue and gold.
Iconic. Super iconic. I don't love the color, actually, but it's iconic. So if you were to do most iconic jerseys, you're 2 for 2. But I don't love the look, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm going to go cartoony quickly, but I think this jersey holds up. I'm going to go with the Vince Carter era Toronto Raptors Raptor jersey, the one that has the actual dinosaur on the front. It was goofy. Again, Raptors have nothing to do with Toronto at all, other than Jurassic Park had recently come out when it was an expansion franchise. But those ruled. Those were great.
All right. I'm just going to go simple. I am kind of going more the iconic, but I feel like that's what's going to give me votes.
Okay.
Probably not, but I'm going to go with the traditional Detroit Tigers jersey.
Oh, the Tigers?
With
Okay.
with the D.
The D, yeah. It's a great, what is that, Old English or whatever they call that lettering, that letterhead? It's awesome.
Been the same since,
The
the Georgia Peach was running the bases.
It's awesome. You're right. That's a very good jersey. Good color scheme, easy,
The whole thing.
whole thing.
If the Tigers were actually good once in a while,
It's been a while.
it'd be more iconic.
It's been a while.
Well, what's his name won the Triple Crown?
Pudge? Not Pudge.
No.
The other Rodriguez.
No,
Rodriguez?
it's not that either.
What's his name? He was their catcher,
Miguel.
though, right? Miguel
no,
Cabrera.
Cabrera.
Yeah, Melky.
Hey, he's not a catcher. but yeah.
No, with first baseman. See, I'm all over the place. Excuse me. Great jersey. They lost Verlander, it all went downhill. All right, give me the Clark Griswold Chicago Blackhawks jersey that he wears in Christmas Vacation.
All right.
It's a great logo. I know it's probably controversial because it depicts a Native American. It's a great jersey. It just looks awesome. The color scheme is awesome. They still wear it. I don't know how long they're going to wear it, but I love the Chicago Blackhawks hockey sweater.
You might call this pandering, and maybe it is, but I'm going with the Jazz Note Mardi Gras color. I'm like not the original because I know we saw all those versions for the 50s,
Purple
but
or
the
white?
like the white,
The white one.
the white one.
The home one. I think that's
The
the best
home
jersey the
one,
Jazz have ever worn. I'm
I do
totally
too.
with you. With the purple logo,
It's
ruled.
super unique. The J in the note is super unique.
With
I
the-
actually think it is cool that they kept the name even though it's in Utah.
I'm completely with you.
I'm going to go with that.
We were talking to designers yesterday from the Jazz, kind of talking about what they were doing this year and what their plan was. And one of the things they said, they actually brought in a national guy who'd done some other, big-time sports logos, and he was talking about the Jazz having two of the best uniforms he's ever seen. He talked about the original Mountain jersey and the that Mardi Gras look. It's so iconic. It's so classic. It is such a good look. And it is completely unique. You know it immediately, and it brings memories back even for people not in Utah. So it's a great jersey. I'm with you. I'm going to go with, unfortunately, going up against some of those jerseys, I think it's one of the best NBA jerseys of all time, the red Chicago Bulls jersey. It's just classic. And maybe it's because Michael was so good in them that we remember it that way, but with the bull on the front, it's very cool.
All right, now this one I actually think is probably the number one answer, but it is going to get me 0 votes, but I feel like I have to draft it anyway. The Creamsicle Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
It's great.
And I actually love the logo, but we're not drafting logos. The pirate with like the knife in his mouth.
The Buccaneer.
Just incredible. But I'm going with how did you settle on Creamsicle?
Yeah, weird.
How did
We're going orange and white.
I mean, speaking of the Jazz going highlight or yellow, who looked at the Creamsicle and was like, get me that? But yet, you know exactly what team I'm talking about, what era.
Totally with you. What pick is this, Christian?
This is your final pick.
This is my final pick. That was Jake's final pick. All right, I'm going to go with the LaDainian Tomlinson baby blue with the Charger
Chargers.
bolt.
Yeah.
Those were awesome. The helmets were awesome. The white helmet with the yellow bolt and the baby blue jerseys, those were
I agree.
So cool. Because LaDainian was unreal. So those were awesome.
All right.
Recap quickly.
This is a good one, guys. Jake, you had the number 1 overall pick. You went the North Carolina Tar Heels, Carolina Blue, Notre Dame Blue and Gold, Detroit Tigers D jerseys, the Mardi Gras Jazz jerseys, and the Tampa Bay Creamsicles. Ben, you went New York Yankees pinstripes, Toronto Raptors Dino jerseys, the Blackhawks Clark Griswold jersey, Chicago Bulls red jerseys, and the Chargers baby blue jerseys.
Back-to-back Chicago teams might have been a mistake. I think you're going to win that one.
I don't know, man. Everybody loves the Yankees for some reason. All right, what is our not sports related topic?
Non-sports topic today is going to be top 5 best Kevin Costner movies.
There's not.
There's a lot of dogs.
We can only do 5 picks. Total, not 10 total. We can only do 5 total because there's only 5 good Kevin Costner movies. Yeah, a lot of dollars.
Is there a consensus number one?
I don't think so, actually. You're going to pick the same one I'm going to pick.
I doubt it.
But
Really?
Like, historically, I think people would not say there's a... Oh, no, historically, I think there's probably all over the board. I think there's a couple of different options.
I'm going to go with the one he won Best Picture for as a director. The Dances with Wolves, and a movie I genuinely liked.
That's the one I think most people would take.
Although I think it's a little weird. He's got like a 90s mullet in a...
It's a whole
1860s Western United
Kevin
States.
Costner Look at Me movie. The whole
for
thing,
sure.
he directed it,
Yeah.
he stars in it. It's 4 hours long. It's Kevin Costner just being awesome
Being Kevin
in
Costner.
the Wild West.
Yeah.
It just rules. It is very cool.
Yep.
But it is weird that Kevin Costner's like, hey, I'm the leading man. Watch me be the guy.
Yeah, watch me direct
And then he does.
me.
And he won Best Picture or Best Director. You're right.
Rewarded for it.
And has not directed a good movie since then. All right, I will go with my favorite on my list, though I did have Dances with Wolves. I'm going to go with Field of Dreams.
Yeah, it's great.
It's
I love it.
my favorite of his roles. So cool. It's magical.
It's his best sports movie, in my opinion,
Agreed.
by quite a ways.
Yeah.
All right, you leave this for me. I love The Untouchables.
Okay.
He's Elliot Ness,
he
iconic character in American history.
Yep.
And that was a good movie.
I'm going to go with what you're going to pick next.
Yeah, probably.
So I'm going to steal it from you, and I'm going to take JFK.
Yeah. It's all right.
It's one of his better roles where he's not just being Kevin Costner. Like, he is still Kevin Costner, clearly, in that movie, because all of his movies, he's just Kevin Costner. But it's a little less Kevin Costner-y than some of his roles. Like, he had to play a character, and he does a good job of it.
All right.
He's not JFK, by the way. If you've never
No.
seen the movie,
No.
he does not play Jack Kennedy.
He's the
Prosecutor? Defense attorney?
Uh-huh.
What
no,
is he?
he
Whatever.
was the prosecutor
Yeah.
who was, like, in real life, quite unhinged,
Yeah.
but cast as a
Hero genius.
hero genius in that movie.
Yeah.
Don't they
Not a
combine,
lunatic.
like, 12 different conspiracy theories in one movie or whatever?
It's impeccably well made. If you haven't seen it, and it's got probably the best cast of any movie of all time. And he
It
leads
might,
it. He
actually.
carries it. He leads it. It's unbelievable.
All right, Ben. I loved this movie, but some people did not.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Hidden Figures.
Okay. I think generally well regarded amongst Kevin Costner movies. It's one of the more beloved movies.
It's a great movie. My grandfather worked for NASA and is from Virginia, that part of the country. My dad grew up during that time. So, pretty cool. Hidden Figures.
I will go with... Man, I've got a lot of good ones on the board still. You know I'm going to go super iconic, even though he got acted off the screen in this movie. Give me Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
I love that movie.
I do too.
And most people, like, it is campy when you look back at it. And again, having a mullet in, like, the Crusade ages or whatever, you know what I mean?
He
like,
has an accent half the movie and not half the movie.
Yeah, it's
Alan
bizarre.
Rickman runs circles around
Alan
him.
Rickman's great. So is Morgan Freeman.
They all outact him so badly that, like, it's shocking that Kevin Costner was in this movie. And there's some funny backstory about, like, him taking the role and not preparing for it at all and getting there and then being like, Alan Rickman is this unknown person, relatively still at this point, and is just dancing circles around you and you look like an idiot. You've got to figure out how to make this a Kevin Costner movie. It's extremely flawed as a film. Really fun to watch.
Next one for me, Ben. I'm staying in the sport. I'm going into the sports lane, I guess. Tin Cup.
Okay.
One of the better golf movies ever made.
Golf translates to film pretty well.
I don't know
But
how
not
many,
every
other good golf movies
There's
are
not
there.
a lot of great golf movies, though.
That if it weren't for Will Smith, the Jack Lemmon one was okay.
Is that Bagger Vance?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never saw it.
And don't. Will Smith ruins it like he does pretty much every
Most
movie.
movies.
But yeah, what other good golf movies are out there? Happy Gilmore is not a good movie.
I really like Happy Gilmore. Probably be my top pick. Is this my final pick? Is this 4? Is this 5? 4. Oh, okay. Well, I'll go with a movie you're not going to take, though I do love this movie, and it's my second baseball movie, Bull Durham. I watched it again a couple of months ago. It is great. He's funny in it. It's one of his more adult roles. He's pretty curse in it. It's a great role. It's a very funny movie. I enjoy it. Bull Durham.
Yeah, you're just trolling me on that. Although that will give you, people seem to like that movie, so that will get you votes, I suppose. I don't even remember who he was in this movie, but I remember liking this movie. I'm going to go with Molly's Game.
Okay. I didn't love Molly's Game.
You didn't? I liked Molly's Game. It was an interesting story, based on a true story. I've interviewed Jeremy Bloom before.
Okay. So I have talked to him too as well, actually. Played for Colorado?
Played for Colorado and then was an Olympic
Olympian
skier.
And played in the NFL for a minute,
For
right?
a hot second, yeah. Then his sister, Molly, ran a huge underground poker game.
Yeah.
And stayed up for months on time doing meth or something.
Yeah.
You didn't like that movie? I thought it was good.
No, it was fine. It was fine. It's just a little... Didn't quite get there for me. My last pick... You know what? I'm going to go off the rails here. This movie's way better than people give it credit for. It just got bagged on because it was so expensive. Give me Waterworld.
I liked Waterworld.
Waterworld is not as bad as people think it is. It's weird. It's crazy. But Waterworld is very fun.
You
It's
know,
worth revisiting.
Dennis Hopper wasn't even supposed to be in that movie. And he just like weaseled his way in somehow or something
Showed
like
up.
that. And all of a sudden he's like the supervillain. The other one I considered, which I really like, is Open Range. But I don't know if anybody else likes that movie.
Okay.
Any others that you considered? Is there anything we missed?
Draft Day. People like Draft Day.
Dreadful.
Kevin Costner has mostly dogs.
No, the vast majority of his movies are dogs, and
Yeah.
that's one of them.
Yeah.
I liked Wyatt Earp, kind of. But everybody didn't like that because it came out at like the exact same time as Tombstone, and everybody seemed to like Tombstone.
And
better.
Tombstone's very good.
What's his name didn't make a bad Doc Holliday, though.
No, he played the role well. So it's fine. It's fine. It's not Tombstone. But yeah, it's a problem. It's hard to make the lesser of the two movies that come out.
It's very long. Tombstone wraps it up in about 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Wyatt Earp, you're there for settle in. It's going to be here a while.
I've never seen Silverado.
I haven't either.
Recap.
Jake, you had the number one pick again. You went Dances with Wolves, The Untouchables, Hidden Figures, Tin Cup, and Molly's Game. Ben, you went Field of Dreams, JFK, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Bull Durham, and Waterworld.
Yeah, Bull Durham might get it for you, but I just refuse to draft it.
Yeah, I know you would. That's why I took
You got it
JFK
late.
ahead of it. I think it's
Yeah.
better than JFK, but I knew it was going to be on the board.
Yeah, JFK and A Bridge Too Far are the best two movies for that 6 Degrees from 7 Kevin Bacon movie game possible.
Yep.
You can like funnel everything through those two movies. That or the third one, Mars Attacks.
Yeah.
Has everybody in it.
It does.
Stay tuned. More next. We'll wrap up the show. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The sports you love, the teams you can't live without.
Get a sense of urgency!
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ben Anderson, man of the hour. 38 years rocking with power. Mid-sports radio blowing minds. Loves his kids, his love he finds. Beyonce and she's standing by. Making life sweet, never runs dry. Basketball fan, never wears shorts. Air fryer king, cooking up reports. Rock radio star.
Happy birthday, Ben.
Is you and the gang?
This is me and the crew. We came up with the song. Now, Christian just talked over the best lyrics, but it's not his fault.
I'm going to need the lyrics sent to me.
I thought it came out pretty well.
Look, it sounds great.
We
You guys,
wanted,
nice of you to record it last
Like
night.
an 80s butt rock kind of vibe to it, because I know that is your go-to style of music.
You killed it.
And yeah, what do you think?
You guys have
Pretty
great
good?
production. Amazing you guys can
I
put those
think-
together so quickly.
I think we need to play it again.
Do it later in the show.
We do have more important things to do, like getting out of the zone phone, joining us now. She's our good friend. She covers the NBA draft for Yahoo Sports. The one and only Krysten Peek. How about that, Krysten? It's Ben's 38th birthday. What do you think?
Happy birthday, Ben.
Thank you so much. Kristen and I actually have birthday plans for her birthday already. At least I've weaseled my way into an invite to her party
Yes.
this summer. So
Yes,
Very
it'll
exciting.
be a mixture of jazz media, jazz front office people, and my hiking group. here in Utah.
Wow,
So,
that's an eclectic crew.
Well, I'll give you some recommendations on how to help everyone blend off the air. There's some easy tricks that everyone will get along a little bit easier.
It's called Miller Lite.
Yeah. All right, Krysten, you have a new mock draft out.
.com.
Who's got it better than us?
Your home for the best sports coverage in Utah. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Ben Anderson, man of the hour. 38 years rocking power. Mid-sports radio blowing minds. Loves his kids, his love he finds. Keyonte George standing by. Making life sweet, never runs dry. Basketball fan, never wears shorts. Air fryer king, cook it up, reports. Rock on that radio star. Happy birthday, Eliza guitar. Strong those chords, love those kids. Air fryer sizzles as you live your bits.
Happy birthday to our buddy
Thank
Ben.
you. Likes basketball, never wears shorts is a good line. I like that. That one fits in.
This segment is brought to you by Peach Doors and Windows. You are the air fryer king.
Man, I made my kids think I'm a master because I will dice up some potatoes and
Oh, yeah, buddy.
they think I've made, it's hash browns.
I air fryed some hash browns just yesterday.
My kids are like,
Oh, yeah.
my dad is a sous chef. He's a master. He's an executive. He's a master.
Amazing home transformations begin with Peach Doors and Windows, where 5-star reviews are the norm. Call them today for your free in-home estimate, 801-566-1255, Peach Doors and Windows. Two very quick things for you on the way out the door, Ben. One involved an off-the-air conversation we had yesterday. Why on earth was Ed O'Neill on Armpit's show? Well, I answered that question last night. Again, we have Armpit McAfee's show up on the monitor here. We never listen to it. We just see it. And Ed O'Neill was on it yesterday. FX is doing a new show about the Clippers.
Oh, right. He's playing
And
Don
he's
Sterling.
playing Donald Sterling. I watched the first episode, or most of it, last night.
How was it?
Not great. I mean, the casting is...
Lawrence Fishburne is...
Larry Fishburne is Doc Rivers, and Larry's a little heavier than Doc is.
Yeah, but they got the hairline right.
They did. Blake Griffin is some skinny guy.
Yeah.
Chris Paul didn't look anything like Chris Paul.
I can't do that. Even what was the Winning Time? The Lakers one, which was pretty
Winning
good.
Time. Winning Time was good.
It's always hard to buy into the players, I suppose, so having to look like the players.
Well, this is about Donald Sterling giving up the Clippers. I mean, they start like Doc Rivers' first season is where the show starts or whatever. It's too recent.
Correct. Everyone knows what Magic looks like, but I'm always going to picture Magic today and not what he looked like in 1985.
Right.
1983. So when they start showing that late 70s, early 80s Magic, it's a little more believable.
You can kind of jump on board,
but
right?
you can't do Chris Paul today.
My buddy Drew's mom was alive when Richie Valens died. And she told, we watched the movie once, La Bamba or whatever with Lou Diamond Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, Richie Valens just looks like Lou Diamond Phillips to me. She can't remember what he actually looked like.
Yeah.
Because it was whatever it was, 30 years later or whatever the thing was. Like Booner. Booner is in Winning Time. Do people know that? The show written about the Lakers, Booner is like a heel character.
Yeah, he is. He's got a couple of scenes.
He does, where he's
Some huge ones.
razzing Magic.
But it's the way, yes.
But the guy looks nothing like Booner. But I'm guessing that most folks don't automatically remember what Booner
don't know what
looked
Ron
like
looks like.
that. Because even jazz fans, because it was that long ago.
Yeah. Oh, it's like, when you picture Selena, who do you picture?
J-Lo.
J-Lo. Or when you picture Frida Kahlo,
Yeah.
picture Salma Hayek.
Who's much better looking than Frida Kahlo.
Correct. But you get a biopic and
But she grows a unibrow and everybody's like, that's Frida.
that's her. Well, she's one of the most beautiful people who's ever lived.
Quite short, Selma Hayek.
Yeah.
Saw her at the airport once. She's
really?
like 4'8".
I believe it.
Just
Little.
tiny. Anyway, and the second one I'll save for tomorrow about during recent job interviews, employers say recent college graduates have ...
Oh, what a tease.
And it's just amazing that these people aren't getting jobs, I'll tell you.
Okay.
So we can get to that tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, stay tuned. Hanson Scotty G coming up next. Happy birthday, Ben.
Thanks, Christian.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.